Hi there, this is a quick tutorial on how to use the Trend Lab tool. First off, what you're going to want to do is come over and find a team. Let's just go with, say, Clemson. And if you mouse over to where it says Trend Lab, click on that. The first thing you see is a drop down. You can choose offense or defense. Right now it's selected to offense. You can choose a bunch of different stats in which to plot. Points is what it defaults to, so you can also change it to tempo free, which it currently is, so this is points per possession. All seasons for which there's data is the default. You can change that and plot a particular season. Let's just leave it at all seasons for now. You can choose to plot the MACD to show trends. This is not enabled by default because it makes everything much slower. So I like to turn this off when I'm doing filtering. So this will just show where, at what points the points are trending up or trending down in this particular case. So let's leave that unselected. In the graph, in the legend itself, you can select, there are 4 different series in here, so you can select and remove some of the series which are kind of noisy, just to get, say, a moving average, which kind of you can see a little bit more detail if you don't plot all the games or all the selected games. And down here, this chart at the bottom here is called a range chart. And you can select, say, a custom range if you want to plot, say, several seasons, and you want to analyze several seasons. You can move this slider on here. It's kind of hard to see, but you can select, say, custom ranges that extend more than 1 or 2 seasons and plot that. This reset key up here resets all of the filters. In this case, we have a date filter selected from November of 2013 to March of 2017. This reset will just get rid of that. Lastly, we're down here are sort of specific filters. This is the location filter. If we just want to look at games, say away games in which Clemson lost, in conference, this would be the list of those, and this points per possession distribution here, you can also select sub-ranges of this. So if we wanted to say, show me all the away losses in conference in which Clemson scored less than a point per possession, you click on the distribution here and select all the games in which they scored less than 1 point per possession. The table down here will reflect all the filters that you applied up above. At any point, you can reset a particular filter. So points per possession, you'd say you don't like that. You can just hit the reset button and get all that back. Also, if you can also invert your filter. Suppose we just want to look at non-conference games rather than conference games. Hit the invert button right there, and you will select only non-conference games. And you can also reset the filters, obviously, individual filters. And the table down here will reflect the filters you've selected. You can also save what you've plotted out as a PNG file. So if you want to plot it somewhere, it'll download a PNG file for you. There is also a trend lab for conferences. So if you want to look at, say, the ACC as a whole, you come to the conferences section and select trend lab, and it will plot all the different teams in the ACC together. Like in the team trend lab, you have the offense and defense section, the different stats in which to plot, the different seasons, And there's a special slider here for the moving average. So when you're plotting a dozen or so teams, it can get the noise. The plot can get pretty noisy pretty quickly. So this defaults to a 26 game moving average. You can take it down to plotting every game. That's a 1 game moving average, but it gets really noisy and it's really hard to see kind of any sort of trend here. So this bar, the slider, extends all the way to 40 games. And at a 40 game moving average, you definitely see trends, but you sort of lose the granularity that you would get at a shorter moving average. So you kind of have to play with this to see how much noise is you can handle, and you get more granularity on the trends. On the legend here, you can mouse over individual teams and they'll be highlighted. So you can sort of see, like in this case, it's if you mouse over, you can see that in terms of points per possession, Wake looks like they have since the beginning of the 2017 season have really dropped off in terms of points per possession. These gray lines in here indicate the starting and ending of each individual season. So so you can kind of see seasonal trends in here, and these filters are much like the team trend chart. You select one, and it will take all the wins and that sort of thing. And you can also, like the team chart, like the team trends, just select all the games in which the teams had say higher than 1.2 points per possession, and down here we'll show all the results. You can sort all of these just by clicking on the header, and just like before, hit the reset button and to remove all filters. And if you click on individual teams here, you can remove them from the plot if they get too noisy. And how this is convenient is you can highlight just 2 particular teams or 3 particular teams to kind of look and see how they have trended. And in this case, I've selected just Duke and North Carolina to see how their points per possession has trended compared to one another over the years. And hovering over either will highlight them. And that's it.